Night one of Double Trouble. 3 5-minute rounds if they need them in the Cage Warriors featherweight division. Tom Mearns in the dark grey and white trim. John the Show Ndoye in the long black shorts. And Ndoye already getting those combinations uncorked. Nice jab from Mearns though. Nice lead left hook from Ndoye.
Like you've said already, Brad, you know, I think the strategy here for Tom is going to be very obvious, to try and take this fight into a grinding wrestling match as fast as possible. And I think his opponent knows exactly what he wants to do. So it's all about finding that timing, staying safe, being able to close the distance, and then get his hands on his opponent.
Oh, big shot there from Ndoye. There's the takedown. Beautiful level change from Tom Mearns.
Yeah, that was a nice level change, and you know, John Ndoye doing a good job at defending here, taking a front headlock position, but that's going to be completely ineffective when you end up on your back underneath side control. Tom immediately passing into this this very low mount position, all about whether you can get past that knee line. John doing a great job of getting back, you know, getting back onto one knee, getting his back up against the fence. He's thinking about it, he's just looking down and thinking about that front headlock, that guillotine position. But Tom in a good position now. He wants to try and drag his opponent off of the fence here. There we go. That's the angle that you want your opponent. You want him facing away, John, and that is why, you know, you can see how much John wants to get his back to the cage, because it just assists you in standing back to the feet. Tom in a much better position now. He's got that triangle position with the legs. He was trying to secure the knees on the lower side of his legs, but just looks like those knees are slipping to the upper side of the legs. This is a very, very critical position now for John. He needs to try and get those legs. He wants to use his hands or something to frame on the hips of Tom so he can get those knees back on the inside, because right now he's got nothing in the lower body to frame away. This is an interesting position, you know, using the fence to basically control the far side, using an underhook on the far side to control the near side. He transitions, and this is the position I'm talking about, where you sit in that position, you see the opportunity. If the opponent becomes lax with their leg position, they don't have frames, you pass straight into mount. We've seen it already tonight, and again, beautifully done into this mount position. This is exactly where Tom wants this fight.
Well, this is exactly as you say, Dan. This is what his team talked about, you know, getting down to 145 pounds and using his wrestling to nullify Ndoye. You know, if there is a knock on Ndoye, it has been that he does sometimes struggle to get back to his feet in these positions. You look to his fight with Kieran Clark, who was able to use his wrestling to dominate Ndoye on the ground. And this is a riddle Ndoye's going to have to solve if he wants to get back to his feet and do some damage to Tom Mearns.
Yeah, so Tom right now, you know, you always have this option whenever you get to a top dominant position in MMA. Am I going to look to, well, you have 3 options. Am I going to look to transition? Am I going to look to strike? Or am I going to look to submit? It really looked like he was trying to tie up a submission, specifically looked like he was trying to tie up that head and arm. He saw the opportunity to take the back, but very often the arm coming across the body when you go and take the back allows you to set up the head and arm choke. This is a tight position now. He wants to try and free that leg and then pass to the same side as his other leg is on. He wants to get to the side control on the side of the arm, inside that arm triangle. Jean's doing a great job of trying to expand his body and make his body as big as possible. What he doesn't want to do is shrink up here. A lot of people instinctively try and get small to try and slip out, and what ends up happening is just like a python wrapped around his prey. As it gets smaller, you lose the ability to get bigger again, and he's still got this head and arm position. A decision needs to be made by Tom now, is whether he's going to try and continue to attack this or whether he was going to release it and look to secure that back position.
Well, he's got just over a minute to play with in this position. Look, John Ndoye's no slouch on the ground himself either. You know, back in 2013, he had a run of 3 fights, 3 submission victories, a couple of rear naked chokes and an arm triangle. So, you know, he has his chops on the ground too, but, you know, that A1 game for him is obviously the striking, and, you know, Mearns doing a great job of nullifying that here and passing into side control now. Yeah,
beautiful switch of the leg there. He looked to get to the mount position. His opponent raised his legs to try and stop the mount, and he just pulled them backwards straight into side control. You know, he's got 30 seconds left on the clock now. Is this enough time to look to tie up a submission? Potentially. This is a great position here. Looks like he's trying to tie up an Americana. He is tying up an Americana. This is all about controlling the body, though. That's why it's so difficult to finish those Americanas, because you need to stabilize the body position. You know, he's not going to really get anything submission-wise. It's too late in the round, but fantastic first round for Tom Mearns.
Final 10 seconds as Ndoye looking to use the fence to get back to his feet. Takes a knee, and that's an illegal knee. And Jean Ndoye saying he's fine, but referee Dan Movaheady just calling time there. And you know, when you take a concussive blow that isn't legal, you have to give the fighter a little bit of time just to get his wherewithal, and then the doctor, of course, will come in and perform the concussion protocol now.
Was that hand on the floor when the strike landed?
We might be able to get another look at that between rounds, hopefully, if we can maybe get a slowed down shot of that. We're going to see it now. Yeah, it was pretty much down. It was pretty much down. It looked like
the strike raised the hand up.
Yeah, and you know, it was certainly thrown when the hand was down, which is, you know, you talk about the intent of the foul as well.
So, I was wondering there whether Tom was going to lose a point really right at the end of the first round there. Luckily he didn't, which would have been really significant, because that was a very, very strong round for Tom.
Yeah, I don't think there was any ill intent there, and it obviously didn't do any damage, so you know, the referee's going to give him the benefit of the doubt in that situation. You know, that's a fair call there from referee Dan Movaheady. Let's take a look back at some of the action from this first round. Beautiful combination there from Jean Ndoye. So fluid, so smooth.
And you know, we knew that this takedown attempt was coming. Finally, he got it. He picked his man up. Matt Hughes style, carrying his opponent across the. Well, there you go, Tom Hughes, right? Carrying his opponent across the cage to the other side, dumping him down. That was a beautiful switch from mount into side control here. Just look, you know, really good stuff. And like you said, you know, Jean does have some grappling skills. We saw that as he defended, he did everything right to defend against that head and arm choke, and it was a nice position. Had he made a few mistakes there, that might have been a fight-ending finish. So, you know, very, very strong first round for Tom.
Yeah, look, here's the slow-mo, and yeah, you can clearly see that was thrown when the hand was down, and a fair call there from Dan Movaheady. Touch of gloves, round 2 underway, and let's see what Jean Ndoye can do before that inevitable takedown comes in. And it's early from Mearns, but he's left his neck in a little bit there.
Yeah, exactly. And Tom doing a fantastic job of jumping over into half guard. He looked for side control there. Jean did a good job of trying to stop that, ending up in half guard, but very, very hard to finish a guillotine from half guard unless you're in a super high elbow position. He looked to tie up a Kimura there. For a second, Tom looked to spin for a far side Kimura, another Matt Hughes technique, but instead opting to try and take the back there. This is a great position. Jean looking for a switch here, an anchor point with that arm to try and turn back towards his opponent, but Tom just punishing the lower body. He switches straight round for the back. But this is just a really, really clinical display of grappling skills from Tom. And what he wants to do here is he wants to do some damage. He wants to change that position. Then he can make a decision of whether he's going to, 1, look to take a takedown from that body lock position, 2, drop down to the legs, 3, jump onto the back. And right now it looks like he's going to try and take that back. There we go. You see that right hand start to come a little bit higher. That's because he wants to switch into an over-under position. You have to remember, the clinch position, double unders is great, but when you're on the back, you actually want an over-under so you can attack the neck as well. But Jean doing a very good job of being able to stay on his feet. He's using this hand to try and turn back to face his opponent. Finally able to do that. Really great job from both fighters.
Big welts across the body of Mearns there from taking those kicks to the body.
Every one of those shots just look horrible, don't they?
But this is what Mearns has to do. He's got to keep this in close. The only real danger he's got to look out for here are the knees of Jean Ndoye. You know, we saw him stop Corin Eaton with a knee up close, so he'll be very, very careful of that. But he's doing a great job so far, sticking to his man like glue and looking to get another big takedown off the cage here. And Ndoye able to scramble and stay on his feet.
Yeah, and Ndoye's a few times now has looked to tie up that guillotine, thinking that it's going to be a huge, valuable asset for him. The reality is that the way that Tom takes you down, the position that he's getting to, actually having a front headlock position isn't going to be good enough. So he thought about it for a second there. He decided that he's much better off trying to create some space by cutting an angle with that anchor point on the hand. So far, he's doing a way better job, obviously, than he did in the first round. We're halfway through the second round. He's only seen his back on the mat for a couple of seconds. So this is definitely possibly the tide changing. Tom's certainly still dominant, but if Jean can stay on his feet and create some space, this is really significant.
Let's see if he goes back to work with that body kick. Throwing the right hand there. Nice combination again from Ndoye. Oh, and he tries with the knee up the centre line. Mearns trying to keep his man guessing with a nice kick up the centre himself as well there. But you've got to believe that takedown's coming at some point from Mearns. Ndoye tries to step in with the elbow.
Yeah, and what Tom needs to do is wow, this is interesting. Jean looking, and we have a little bit of a think for a front headlock or a guillotine position, instead looking to take an underhook. I would have said you probably in that scenario would have been better off with that front headlock with a little bit more control, because it wasn't a super deep position. Right now Tom finds himself on his back. Really interesting decision from Ndoye to shoot for a takedown here.
Well, you know, we've talked about it before. You know, he does have his chops on the ground. He's got plenty of submission wins on his record. Obviously, you know, much more in love with his striking these days, but, you know, perhaps just another option here that Mearns maybe not expecting.
Yeah, almost a little bit of a De La Riva going for a second there from Tom.
Nice shot from Mearns there, an uppercut comes back from Ndoye. Oh, Ndoye stepping in with the elbow, tries for the knee, 1-2. Mearns taking them on the chin though.
I think Mearns has to be thinking about shooting another takedown, but you know, end of the second round now. Is it worth conserving the energy for the third round? I think maybe so, if he can survive here.
Yeah, Mearns can take a shot. You know, we've seen him in absolute slugfest at lightweight, so you know you've got to believe that he's happy taking a couple from Jean Ndoye here, but of course he's not going to want to make a habit of that. Nice jab from Mearns there.
Yeah, I think, you know, the first round very dominant from Tom. This second round a much harder round to score. Certainly a much closer round, and I wouldn't want to score. I think it could go either way here. I think in the third round is going to be very significant. If Tom can conserve a little bit of energy and still have enough in the tank to get this fight to the ground in the third round, I think that's going to be the best strategy for him.
Final 10 seconds of the round. Mearns with a shoulder shrug there. He should be very careful in this clinch. Ndoye trying to fire off the knees here. What did I say before this fight started? It was going to be interesting, right? Two guys with no reverse gear, and we've seen some great action in this second round. Let's take a look back. Nice combination of shots from Ndoye there. A nice knee too. Got a little smile from Tom Mearns there. And then, as you say, Dan, a change of tact, and then Ndoye getting the takedown in the second round.
Yeah, well, you know, I think actually having the most amount of control from top position on the ground in that round.
You see the welts on the legs there of Mearns, but here's a knee. Oh, right on the
beautiful
chin. That's exactly the shot that dropped Corin Eaton face first to the mat. So for Tom Mearns to take that just shows you exactly the constitution this man has. Two great sportsmen here.
These guys are lit up, ready to put on a really exciting third and final round, I think.
You know, we talked about Jean Ndoye, you know, that's why he calls himself the show. He wants to put on a show first and foremost, and anyone who's seen Tom Mearns fight before has left certainly not regretting the cost of the ticket.
Question is now, is Tom gonna try and close that distance? Is he gonna level change so nicely like he did in the first round and try and get back to a dominant position? You know, he looked so good in that first round. Can he get back to that?
You know, does he want to get caught in a firefight with Ndoye here?
I mean, I wouldn't.
You know, look, he's one of those guys who just loves a scrap, and that's what we're seeing now.
But I think this is one of the reasons why he has maybe lost some matches that maybe he could have won. And you know, during that I think, was it 5 or 6 fight slide, I think maybe a lack of fight IQ possibly could be blamed for some of that. I think right now, this might not be the smartest tactic to try and actually win this fight. So I think that's really, he needs to be careful not to just go back to his basic instinct of wanting to have a scrap and actually, you know, rely on his skills.
Yeah, if I'm fighting Jean and Doi, I'm shooting that first takedown from my front door as soon as I walk out the house.
But not just that, but like so much success with it in the first round.
Doi looking to walk his man down here, just trying to get him back to the cage. Good head movement there from Mearns. Because
this is a close fight. You know, you could absolutely, you know, I'd probably say almost certainly actually that Jean has won the second round. First round with Tom, I think it's all the play for in this third round.
Yeah, absolutely, and they are duking it out here in the center of the cage. This is exactly what we expected from these two, and they are delivering here on night one of Double Trouble. And Doi looping that uppercut, following it with the left hook. Again, going back to the knee. Really welted up that lead leg. Oh, nice shots there from Ndoye. And that gave Tom Mearns pause for thought briefly. Everything's coming in combinations for Ndoye. Steps in with the elbow. Mearns firing back though. Ndoye just able to stay just out of reach and take those punches on the gloves. Good defensive work from Mearns as well to parry some of those shots from Ndoye. But it looks like the Frenchman is finding a way through with a bit more regularity, and he's caused a stance switch there. Mearns has put that lead leg back, and that leg is chewed to bits.
There we go, there's the level change, 2 minutes left. A switch for the back attack. Jean doing a great job of defending against this. With 2 minutes left on the clock, this could be significant. If he can get this fight to the ground and do some damage, get to strong positions, this could secure this round and possibly this fight for him. But that's going to be the question. We already saw in the second round, he didn't have the pop on his takedown that he did in the first round. Jean is, you know, like you said, he did everything right in that second round to defend the takedown for multiple minutes in the clinch. So I think if Tom's going to actually hit this takedown, he needs to be hitting it and be able to put his man on his back in the center of the cage.
And crucially, he has to do something with it. You know, a takedown in and of itself is not a scoring move. You know, it's a change of position, unless it's a big power bomb or a slam. And then Ndoye is doing damage on the feet here. And Mearns will need to pull something spectacular out in the final minute or so if he's going to even this round up. Still very much in the fight though, is the man from BST.
Yeah,
not much sprawl from Ndoye.
Yeah, not much set up in that level change, so Ndoye was able to react to that very, very early and, you know, easily shrug off that takedown attempt.
Ndoye center of the cage now, marching his man back, and then Ndoye again looking for a takedown here.
Yeah. Also looking to secure it. I still think it's interesting. I certainly think that he's getting the better of the striking. I mean, that leg is just, it's going to be, walking's going to be fun tomorrow. But, you know, taking top position now with 25 seconds left, he's going to look to, I imagine, throw some strikes from here. Tom doing a great job of getting back to his feet straight away and into a clinch position, but 15 seconds left on the clock. Not really enough time to work for anything.
And stepping back. Can he do anything here? And Ndoye marching forward. Both guys firing off shots towards the end of the round, and Ndoye flying in with a knee.
I mean, the gameness of both of these guys is so evident. You could just watch these two slug it out for round after round, never gets boring.
Yeah, absolutely, as advertised between Tom Mearns and Jean Ndoye. 3 very entertaining rounds of action. You know, we expected coming into this one for Mearns to use his wrestling, and as you said, Dan, he did that very effectively in the first round. Second and third, and Ndoye was able to keep it in his realm, do a lot of damage on the feet. Maybe that's enough for the judges to give those second 2 rounds to Jean Ndoye. We'll have to see. But let's take a look back at some of the action, though. Nice shots early from Ndoye here. Takes a jab himself, though. But everything from Ndoye was coming in combinations. And that kick caused Mearns to switch his stance. Both these guys raising their hands, acknowledging the support in the crowd, and fans here at York Hall giving them both a well-deserved round of applause. And for a guy like Jean Ndoye, who's so enamoured with putting on a show for the fans, I think he's going to be very pleased with that performance. You'd certainly say fight of the night so far on our Cage Warriors Double Trouble Prelims Night 1. Well, the judges have tallied their scorecard. So let's go to our MC, Mr. Hal Chaplin, in the cage for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of mixed martial arts action, we go to our judges' scorecards. Your judges score this contest 29-28 Ndoye, 30-27 Mearns, and 29-28 for your winner by way of split decision in the red corner, Tom Mearns.
Wow, Tom Mearns gets a split decision and a 30-27 as well. So one judge gave him all 3 rounds, and